Hi there, this class is dedicated to structure so and such. At first glance, these words are quite simple, right? However, there is a certain difference in use, and today I'd like to once and for all clarify this difference to you. So without further ado, let's kick off, let's get it over with, shall we? So firstly, let's discuss this so structure. I guess this is the one that you actually use most often, so you shouldn't really have a difficulty in using this structure because, well, after so, we just use adjectives. Adjectives meaning good, difficult, bad, terrible, and so on and so on. And adverbs meaning slowly, quickly. So these words which are simply used with verbs like work slowly, drive quickly, right? So these are the adjectives and adverbs, and this is simply the structure of this so. So after so, we always have adjectives and adverbs. Let's have a look at some examples now, I suppose. So imagine that you're reading quite an interesting book, and what could you say here in this context? That book was so interesting. So this so, it's like very interesting. You want to just stress how interesting that book simply was. Interesting, this is an adjective. This book was so interesting. Another example. My colleagues are so helpful. Again, my colleagues are very, very, very helpful. My colleagues are so helpful. Another one. I'm so tired. So you want to stress how tired, how exhausted you are. I'm so tired. And the last example. She texted me so quickly. Here you actually have this adverb, right? Quickly. So please remember, after so we use either an adjective or an adverb. And now let's move on to such word, which is a bit more problematic, I suppose. Let's have a look at it. So you see, after this word such or such a, such an, we need to use a noun. What is a noun? This is simply a word like book, idea, person, job, project. This is a noun, okay? But before we move on, let's clarify when do we use such a and when do we use such an? Well, you need to simply know when to use a given article. An is simply used with a word which starts with a vowel, samogłoska. So an article, an object, an idea, right? And this a is simply used with the other words, words which start with consonants, spółgłoska. So a book, a project, a person, right? So depending on what kind of nouns you will have, you will either use such a or such an. Or if this word is in the plural form, like projects, ideas, then you will simply use such without any article. So such people, such projects, because this is a plural form. So I hope you're with me. Let's have a look at some examples, okay? Example 1. I work in such a modern company. Such a modern company. And now have a look what happens here. So we have this noun company, right? That's why we use this such a, but you also have an adjective here. So please remember that it's also possible to have an adjective after such a, but then eventually at the end, you always need to have a noun, okay? So I work in such a modern company. However, if you wanted to use so, you could, for instance, say, my company is so modern. And then you would only have an adjective, modern, without this company word. Okay, another example. You're such an idiot. So apologies for using this informal language, but I suppose it's very practical. You might probably hear it very often in series or movies. So I suppose it will get stuck in your mind easily. So you're such an idiot. And now let's have a look at it. There is no adjective here, only a noun, right? Idiot. But this noun starts with a vowel, with I, right? So you need to use this article N. Such an idiot. Look, it's even easier to pronounce these words together. Such an idiot. Such an idiot. And if you just had this A, that would be like such a idiot. It would be difficult to pronounce, right? So that's why we need this article N. You're such an idiot. A noun here. Another example. Such clients are difficult. So you see such, clients. Clients, this is a noun, right? However, you have this plural form. It's not one client. Then you would say such a client, right? But here you have this plural form, so we don't use this article a or n. We just say such clients. Tacy klienci. I hope you're with me. I hope you're slowly digesting what I'm explaining to you. And now let's have a look at this kind of comparison of so and such. So let's have a look. An example with so. This project is so challenging. So challenging. You have an adjective here, challenging, right? Versus a similar sentence. This is such a challenging project. So you still have this adjective challenging, but well, then you have a noun, project, right? So this is such a difficult, such a challenging project. And pay attention, the Polish translation is actually the same, taki wymagający, taki wymagający, taki wymagający projekt. So you just need to pay attention whether you have this adjective only or whether you have this noun, okay? Another example, comparison. Her ideas are so brilliant. Brilliant, this is an adjective, there is nothing else here. Her ideas are so brilliant versus she has such brilliant ideas. Ideas, this is a noun, but actually it's in the plural form. So we just say such brilliant ideas. We don't use an article here. If you had one idea, then you could say, you know, this is such a brilliant idea. Okay? Now, I guess that's it when it comes to the theory in general. I hope it's quite clear to you. However, if you feel like getting back to certain examples, remember you can always stop the video, you can get back. But now I guess we can just move on to the practical part, this kind of test yourself part. So let's get started. So your task here is to simply fill in the gaps with either so or such. Of course, this such word has different forms. It can be such a, such an, or simply such for plural forms. Okay? So now stop the video or think a sec, fill in the gaps. You can say it aloud, of course, to practice this kind of reaction in English, spontaneous translation. And now I'm going to show you the key. This is such a difficult choice. You have choice, which is a noun, so we need to use such a difficult choice. Another one, number 2. Try to process this example. Try to fill in the gaps. And now, you know, I'm not really into such movies. Movies, this is a noun, but it's in the plural form, which means that we only use such without such a or such an. I'm not really into such movies. Nie przepadam za takimi filmami. Takimi, okay? That's the literal translation of this such word. Number 3, are you ready? Have a look at this one. And the key. His behavior is so annoying. It's so irritating. And obviously here we have an adjective, annoying, so we are left with no other choice as to simply use so. His behavior is so annoying. Number 4. Okay, read the sentence, fill in the gaps, and I will do it for you if this is such a huge problem. So here you could probably sense a bit of annoyance. I'm saying, okay, I will do it for you if this is such a huge problem for you. Such a huge problem. Taki ogromny problem. So you see, such a, because we have problem, we have a noun. It's in the singular form, one problem. So we simply say such a huge problem. I hope it's clear. Number 5, there are 8 of these sentences, so bear with me. Number 5, look at this. Such people never change, I'm afraid. Such people. People, this is a noun, but it's a plural form. It's not one person. People. So we simply use such people without a, without n. Okay? Tacy ludzie nigdy się nie zmieniają. Next one. Number 6. You know, that situation was so weird. Weird, it's like strange. Of course, in the American variety, you could just say weird. And in the British variety, that would be like weird. Weird, okay? So you can practice both options. However, that situation was so weird, weird, strange. It's an adjective, so we simply use so. Number 7. To be honest, I've never considered such an option. Option, this is a noun, but also it starts with a vowel, O, right? So we need to use such an option. And it's much easier to pronounce it, actually, such an option, instead of such an option, right? It's kind of difficult to pronounce, such an option. I hope that's clear. The last one, number 8. You actually have 2 gaps to fill in here, so I will give you a few more seconds. The first sentence. It was such a beautiful day. Day, this is a noun. Even though we have an adjective, beautiful, you don't look at it. You look at what you have at the end, day. So it was such a beautiful day. Singular form, so we have this such a, okay? And then the other sentence, the weather was so nice. We have an adjective here, only, there is no noun here, so we use so. So I really recommend that you subscribe in order to download this PDF. Remember that if you subscribe once, then you don't have to do it every time a new video is released. You will always receive the notification of the new video plus the PDF via email. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my videos, if you find them useful. And I do hope that after this class, you can write down in the comment, Asia, it was such a useful class, or Asia, this class was so useful. So I hope that by now you know the difference, you know how to use these structures. I recommend that you create maybe 2 sentences with so and such in order to practice it a bit more. Stay tuned and see you next time. Cheers!